Hello there and glad you could join us for another edition of Channels Beam. I am Victor Matthias. Now at the turn of every new day, week, month and even year, individuals, groups and even organizations usually set for themselves targets to meet, while some have expectations of their leaders, employers and governments. Today on the program, we will focus on the expectations of Nigerians for the year 2017 as the previous year ended not on a high note, especially in the economy. But before we begin, let's take a moment to look at the top trends in the social cyberspace in the past week. Nigerians stood still to honor officers that paid the ultimate price to ensure the safety of Nigerians and also the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the country. A civil society group, Wailing Wailers, led a protest to the Central Bank of Nigeria, demanding the Apex Bank to maintain a single exchange rate for the greenback. The group alleges that at the moment, the dollar sells for 11 different rates in Nigeria and believes it puts some individuals an edge over others. And frayed nerves were calm as MMM was reopened 24 hours before the date the handlers of the scheme promised. Well, those were the trends. Let's now hear from Nigerians speaking to us via Google Plus Hangouts. Let's get to hear what they expect from the government in the year 2017.
In terms of the government, in terms of the governance of the country, I feel it's important to look at the damning consequences of some very outrageous decisions by the government. But of paramount importance is the fact that we have to look at the security situation in the north, especially in Kaduna State. Because if not arrested at the right time, if something tangible is not done about it in a very short period of time, it's going to devolve into a very huge mess that the country cannot afford to experience all over again. I believe that that's the most important thing to look into at the moment. The security situation in the north, especially in Kaduna, it is very, very important that we look into that this year and we make necessary adjustments and we take necessary precautions to make sure that this doesn't grow, this doesn't fester into something that no one would imagine when the destruction eventually piles up on the country.
The way things are going right now, because if things continue this way, I don't think Nigerians will go to the street very soon. And in terms of insecurity, there's been high rate of insecurity so far. We want to see the effort the government is taking into to address this insecurity issue. The government need to do a lot of things there, because if you don't have security, I don't think any private investor, foreign investor want to come in and invest. So in terms of security, we need to do otherwise, so that we don't have other business coming into the country and staying back, stocking themselves in Lagos. Lagos is already jam-packed. Some of these foreign investors coming in, they need to spray. They need to have a kind of policy where they can spray, not just stay in Lagos, move down to some part of northern part of the country, to some part of the country. country, not just stay over in Lagos, because that is the only place that is a bit more conducive for them to do business. So in
All
terms of
right.
insecurity, the government want to do something.
All right, let's take a look at the economy. Ben, where are we?
What I'm saying is that uh, I hope to see some kind of change in the executive arm of government. And at this time, we have seen a lot of loopholes. I think the president should look inward towards to see what he can do to reshuffle the cabinet and get competent and competent people to manage around the cabinet economy at this point in time. We hope that this 2017 will, based on the mistakes we have recorded in the past, that he will capitalize on those mistakes, see how we can change some of those errors, some of the errors that have been happening, and let's see how we can move forward. And again, the economy is very critical at this point in time. We want to see companies coming in to see how we can get this nation out of recession and get our economy back on track again.
So how did we get here?
I think the steps the government need to take is to, like some of the laws that they are setting up now. We have seen the the, the ban placed on importation of cars through the land borders. That has a very effect on Nigerians, and considering the time that we are in right now, this is not the best time for that policy. We have to look at what we have on ground. What do we have on ground? What kind of what kind of policies do we have on ground, like in terms of automobile policies and the rest of it? We have this year we've seen the planned closure of the Nnamdi Azikiwe airport in Abuja. This also have another effect on the economy. The naira has not been stable for the past this week. I think it has been up and down. It has not really been stable, and this also have a very huge effect on the economy. So the government have to look at some of the reforms it's bringing on the table, and look at some checks and balances, and also look at the people he's working with. Some of the people who he's working with, are they really buying into? Are they really buying into what the president, the vision the president has in mind? These are the things he needs to check. Go back to the drawing board, look at some of the policies, see how you can make the government to be a kind of shock absorber for Nigerians, because right now people are suffering. Until you provide that kind of base where Nigerians will see a kind of relief, a kind of shock absorber that will absorb some of the shocks they are experiencing in terms of the kind of tax you're putting in some of goods, imported goods, the kind of bailout you are giving him. We need some bailout, but this bailout shouldn't be in terms of giving it to state governors to pay salary, which some of them are not accountable for. And we need to see bailout in terms of our industries. Some of our companies need to get some kind of bailout. Some private sectors also need bailout also. Aviation sector needs some kind of bailout. You've seen the kind of what is happening in the aviation industry over the last few weeks with some airlines. So people are losing jobs. This critical. Some of these sectors need bailout. So the bailout, if government can provide some kind of bailout to some of our private sectors, I think that will help in also creating more jobs for people. At least more people will move out of the poverty line.
Everyone is affected. The rich, the poor, everyone. Every class of Nigerian has been affected by these very terrible economic policies. But as much as that covers gets to every Nigerian, I believe the first priority of any government is to ensure a very secure entity for every Nigerian. There has to be security everywhere. There has to be adequate security everywhere. And there should never, under any condition or circumstance, be a loss of Nigerian lives to a particular group. Now, under this administration, we have had Boko Haram attack Nigeria at several times. And then we have the new ones, the Fulani herdsmen, who have continually and remorselessly killed Nigerians over and over again. And there has never been any response. I'm saying many people believe that Fulani herdsmen are not being looked into because they enjoy special privileges, because they belong to the tribe of the president or of the governor of Kaduna, for instance. Now, this issue has not been arrested. Many Nigerians have been killed over and over again. Now, the issue of Southern Kaduna massacres has generated a lot of comments all over the world, which I believe everyone should look into. Now, Boko Haram, on the other hand, I think I'm not saying we shouldn't celebrate every time we record success against insurgency. I just think sometimes it's a little too early. We celebrated too early. Now, Boko Haram are trying to regroup all over again. And there is another attack in which many people have died.
All right, I mean, so what will be your own expectations now?
Now, I would believe that at several instances, we should hear from the president. Let us know your plan. Let's know what you want to do. Let's know what your administration is doing to ensure safety for every Nigerian everywhere. We have never heard anything from the president or from the presidency, as a matter of fact. Well, okay, there was a time that the president released a few tweets talking about the massacre in Kaduna, and I think that's not enough. We have to be proactive. We need to know what we are doing. And so far, we don't even know how much has been budgeted to the defense ministry. We don't even know how much we are spending on fighting insurgency and terrorism. But all we do know, as facts point to, is that we are increasingly losing Nigerian lives to insurgency, one, and secondly, to terrorism.
Okay, so let's take a look at industries. Was last year a good year for them, and what are your expectations in this regard?
So I want the government to, instead of bailing out state governors, bail out our private companies, bail out our local investors. Let them have access to credit. Let them have access to foreign exchange, and not to give foreign exchange for frivolous reasons, things that don't really mean, that will not really make an impact on our own personal lives or impact on the country as a whole. Let our importers, some of them who want to import raw materials, let them have access to foreign currencies on a very cheap and normal rate, so that by the time they go out to import whatever goods they want to import, the cost of production will be very, very low, and the cost of selling it to the public will also be low. But if they cannot access this foreign, if they cannot access forex on a very local rate, I think whatever they try to go out of their way to get, it will still be expensive, coupled with the tax and the duties that they are going to pay at the port of entry. So everything you expect everything to go high times two. Like for example, we can see gas. A cylinder of gas is about 6,000 naira. I mean, you can just see how high that be today. The cost of living has tripled. I mean, school fees has also tripled, because some of the private schools, they are paying teachers, and teachers will also want to ask for a rise in pay and all that. So a lot of things are changing, and the salaries are not changing.
All right.
The income is still the same. So I think the government need to do something on that particular sector to see how we can build out our local industry, so that they can be able to create more jobs, because the government as it is cannot create jobs for everybody.
All right, Seun, let me just come back to you now. In wrapping up, what other sectors would you want the government or Nigeria to work on in the year 2017?
You know, in Nigeria, we have diverse problems. We have economic problems, employment problems, health care problems. We're working, and I'm not saying this with any kind of political leanings, but the fact is, we have decadence in this country. Nothing is working. Salaries are being owed, and on top of being owed, they are not reviewed. There is no increment in salaries, but the prices of everything keeps increasing. Now people cannot afford meals. It's sad to hear, but people cannot afford meals.
All right, hopefully they do and will respond positively, but thanks for sharing your expectations with us today. We take a break and we will be back with another perspective. Stick around.